everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to not only the One Man Low Council, but also episode 153 of the Welcome to Asgard podcast. Hope everyone is doing fantastic today. It has been just a crazy last couple days. Going into work now to finalize grades. Just a lot of craziness about talking about next year, new policies, new ways of schooling. It's just insane. On top of all that, we've got a little bit of news. Tomorrow is the worldwide premiere, and by that, of course, I mean the US exclusive premiere of a little thing called HBO Max. So we'll be talking about HBO Max tonight. But before we get into that, I wanted to just talk about a story that was just released on Bounding Into Comics, and it is pretty interesting, to say the least. And that is that, let me go ahead and move that screen over, that apparently a new rumor is being floated around, that apparently Ben Affleck is rumored to be returning as Batman and will have a showdown with the character of Deathstroke. Now, I just want to make it very clear that this is absolutely in rumor territory, and so take this with a very gigantic grain of salt. However, with everything happening recently with the announcement of the Snyder Cut, hashtag release of Snyder Cut, being confirmed for a 2021 release over on HBO Max, and seeing that everyone's very much riding high on all of this stuff in the DCEU, this wouldn't really surprise me if it turned out to be true, especially since one of the main reasons why Ben Affleck left the role was because he was obviously battling many demons. He wanted to get better. He sought help. He got that help based on everything that we've been hearing, and so maybe he is in a better position now to be able to continue on in the role, and potentially Warner Brothers sees that there is still money in this process as well. So let's go ahead and dive into this rumored story from Bounding Into Comics, this by J.B. Augustin. So it says here, we are getting the Snyder Cut of Justice League in 2021. All the more reason to check out HBO Max, and David Ayer hopes his cut of Suicide Squad may follow. And with AT&T keeping the conversation going on social media, and with anything possible, there's more. The Cultured Nerd posted in an exclusive, AT&T and Warner Brothers just might want Ben Affleck to return to the Cape and Cowl and finish his Batman movie where the Dark Knight was slated to face Deathstroke, played by Joe Manganiello. Hopefully I pronounced that even somewhat close to being right. Now again, this was the original plan early on, was that he was obviously in the DCEU, and that Ben Affleck, being a very talented director, I think all of us can at least give him that much, based on the films that he has made, my favorite of which I think is actually Gone Baby Gone, I think it's a solid film, that he would not only be playing Batman, but also would get his own Batman film. And I was actually very much looking forward to that potential. I was very much looking forward to him being able to take on. I think that it arguably could have been the best Batman with him as Batman in the DCEU, because as you all know, I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder's vision personally, but having him behind the reins could actually have led to something very interesting, especially when you're bringing in characters like Deathstroke. Now, this, of course, remember, is just rumor territory for now. They stated this, so the Cultured Nerd is the source of this rumor. Sources close to the Cultured Nerd have informed us that AT&T and Warner Media want Ben Affleck to return as Batman, and also to resume work to adapt his original script for The Batman that originally featured Batman versus Deathstroke. Now, I'm not a huge brain on the subject. I don't have a lot of experience with the comics themselves. The only thing I really know of Deathstroke would be from what we've already been given in both movies and also television. However, it sounds pretty badass to me. It sounds like you would have two brains that can both fight going at each other, and that is something I know I personally would like to see on the big screen. To support their exclusive, they showed AT&T's Twitter chumming the waters. Tagged in a post inquiring about Affleck's future as Batman, they responded rhetorically, "Who knows what the future holds?" So this is where I start to think, I might say nay to this rumor. I might have questions about this rumor. I might say nay. And the reason why is because they claim to have sources that have told them that Warner Brothers and AT&T are interested. It seems like that makes sense, seeing that they've already greenlit giving, $10 to $20 million to Zack Snyder to finish Justice League, the Snyder Cut. So they're already pretty much kind of putting a lot of money there in the first place. The reaction that has been getting has been mostly positive. Obviously, mainstream outlets are trying to go after those toxic fans. But for the most part, it's been very well received. I think that once HBO Max goes live tomorrow, if they're able to see that their projections are outmatched, they might say and argue, hey, maybe that has a lot to do with the Snyder Cut. Maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that we've already made this announcement. Definitely could be there. It would be interesting to see. Maybe they would put out, different types of surveys and say, hey, is one of the reasons why you've signed up for this service because of X, Y, or Z, and have one of those listed as the Snyder Cut announcement. And I guarantee you that probably would get checked off more so than one might think. However, the evidence, the so-called evidence they use, other than claiming they have sources, and we all know everyone has sources these days, everyone claims to have sources. However, their evidence that they try and show, other than, of course, talking about who their sources are, is to say, well, look at AT&T's Twitter. Now, AT&T has been doing some pretty cool things on Twitter. First off, shout out to the president, Abu Nas. Shout out to you, good sir, because his tweet actually got some attention from AT&T, and that was freaking awesome. But to use what they're doing here, the cultured nerd, to try and say that because of their recent Twitter activity, that this somehow confirms their sources, again, seems a little bit too far-fetched for me. So some of the tweets they're talking about are, of course, people reaching out to AT&T. One thing after the announcement, will it be possible to see Ben Affleck as Batman in other future films? AT&T responded, who knows what the future holds? Who knows who will answer the call? So some might say, oh, look, they're teasing that he's coming back. And then I look at that and I say, you could argue that. You could also argue that they're teasing someone else might take up the cape and call instead. Someone else responds, right? Yo, man, AT&T just liked your tweet. They were saying the same thing about the Snyder Cut being on HBO Max. Look at us now. And then AT&T responded, we're full of surprises. Once again, this doesn't really confirm anything that they're saying, but they are using it as a part of their overall argument. So, that is a bit of the news. So again, breaking rumor here. Again, just a rumor. Ben Affleck set to return as Batman for Showdown with Deathstroke. But as we all know, there were rumors going around about the Snyder Cut. AT&T and everyone was kind of playing around with that a little bit, and sure enough, things began to be confirmed by Zack Snyder himself, and we are getting it in 2021, barring any production delays or anything like that. So we could be seeing this. Who knows? But anyway, that's a bit of the beginning news. Let's go ahead and dive into the chat. Thank you very much for being patient. We got 54 people watching, only 27 likes. Please smash that like button. It would really mean a lot. All right, let me jump over into YouTube to catch up with everything going on in the chat. Also, remember, if you have a comment or question, please type Odin Question if you're on YouTube. Odin Question, all one word, ODIN, all one word together. It'll highlight orange on my screen. It'll let me know you're trying to get my attention, and I'll read your comment or question. If you don't want to wait, because I do fall about 15, 20, sometimes even 30 minutes behind in the chat because I do read anyone that tags me. If you want to get it read more quickly, or if you just want to support the channel, you could always super chat, or preferably donate via Streamlabs, because if you donate via Streamlabs, YouTube gets none of that. And we all know that YouTube sucks. And of course, it helps the channel. Let's see. Piri Chan, dude. You're a legend. This guy is the one that's been making the amazing memes over on Twitter. And I believe he might be working on a secret project for Friday Night Tights. So I cannot wait to see it, good sir. So I hope you're doing fine. Mr. Peabody's in the chat talking about how hot it has been. 86 degrees. Patooey. 86? You think that's hot? Try living in the swamps of New Orleans, Louisiana, where it gets upwards of 99, 100, 104 degrees, and then you add that humidity because you're in a swamp. Now that's hot. Orange Eye Reviews RV says, how's your Latin these days, Odin? About as good as it was before. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sanctus, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper et saecula saeculorum. Amen. Not very good. However, at least I know the glory be in Latin. There is that. Mark Oquist is in the chat. What's going on, good sir? Mr. Peabody and Tina were having a conversation as well. Mark Oquist then got involved. Laura Story says, YouTube once had an audio-only option. Yeah, I think that if you have, the only way that I am aware of where you can get that same effect going on is if you own or have YouTube Premium, because then you can have it play in the background, turn off your phone, the audio will still play through your phone, and it'll be playing in the background. So that's about as close as you can get to that. Tina also mentions that John Flickinger, my podcast co-host for Patreon Subscribe Star and YouTube members, is apparently streaming right now. And when I saw him go live, he went live about an hour or so earlier than he normally does. Oh, I got mad. Let's say that a little excommunicado might be in the works going forward. Bexter79, who's a member on the channel, says, hello everyone. What's going on, Bexter? Hope you're doing fine. Slicer Neons is in the chat. Bruce is in the chat. Josue Vegia, what's going on? Goku MGTOW Monk, what's going on, bruv? Tina says, my Valkyrie captain is running late as she does on Tuesdays. She's at work. Safe travels home. My Valkyrie Steph, be safe. Hope you're having fun at work. Bexter79, his member, says, was not ready for the heat today. Still 86 degrees right now. Yeah, it's about 77 where I am, but it was up in the 80s today, and it was terrible. All I can say is it's better to be up here in Tennessee than down in the swamps of Louisiana, because that was terrible. Soul Assassin in the chat. Dark Ness is in the chat as well. Alice McCarthy, who's a member on the channel, says, howdy, Odin. How's it going? I'm watching a good old classic show, Xena. Ooh, Xena Warrior Princess. I watched that show a lot when I was younger. I watched that, and I also watched Hercules. Were they campy as hell? Absolutely. But they were fun. Got to turn your brain off for a little bit and enjoy. Mike Jackson, what's going on? The only thing you've missed so far, major, is I was covering the news that there's a rumor going around that Ben Affleck might be returning as not only Batman, but also to actually direct the film he was originally meant to direct. So that is coming from Bounding Into Comics, covering a source called The Cultured Nerd, who claims to have their own inside sources, so nothing has been confirmed yet. It is still rumor territory, so take it with a giant grain of salt. And my opinion was I'm leaning towards nay. Laura Story, hope you're doing well, though. I heard that you were going to be listening in the background. Muhammad Ali Khan, what is going on? He says, what will happen if Snyder Cut succeeds? Will Henry Cavill return as Superman in the DCEU? I think that's already the plan. I think it would really be idiotic of Warner Brothers to cut ties with him at this point, because I do think you could argue the Snyder Cut has already been successful. I think that they're going to see a major influx of members and subscribers to HBO Max. Again, that goes live tomorrow. I just got the email about an hour or two ago telling me as an HBO Now subscriber that tomorrow the update's going to come through directly, Google Play, iTunes, and it's going to update automatically to becoming HBO Max, giving access to the HBO Max library. So that is, again, less than 24 hours away, about 12 hours or so. I don't know exactly what time they're turning the servers on and sending that update out, but it is very, very soon. So I think if they see a higher than expected subscriber base and they're able to somehow connect that to the news and announcement of, even though it's a year away, the announcement of the Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max, I think that could already signal it being a success, because those subscribers are going to be paying money and it's going to be a very good deal. Not to mention AT&T, if you have AT&T, you can get HBO Max for free for an entire year, similar to what Verizon did with Disney+. So I could see them having a lot of success, not just with their AT&T promotion, but also and especially with the news of the Snyder Cut. So I think that there already would be leaning in that direction. But if it is successful and they were on the fence with it, I don't see why they wouldn't say, all right, let's keep Henry Cavill on. But as I said, I think they would be an idiot not to keep him on, because universally people think he's a great Superman. Even I, who am very critical of Snyder, and I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder, however, I am a fan of Henry Cavill, and I love him, and he's the best part, in my opinion, of the entire DCEU. Him and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, to me, are the top tier performances that we've really gotten from the DCEU thus far. So I really hope they keep him. Orange Eye Review says, hope you are well. It was a scorched day here. How was it there? As I mentioned earlier, it got pretty hot. Luckily, I was able to stay inside most of the day, other than having to go to school meetings. But luckily, only out for a little while. But happy Tuesday, everyone, indeed. Hardwick, Bentha, what's going on? Hardwick says, hashtag release the Kraken cut. What's that a reference to? Mirror Jeremy, how are you today? Mirror Jeremy, I'm doing fine. I hope that you're doing well as well. Muhammad Ali Khan, make sure you put Odin question together as one word. It's the last time I'm going to read it, because you have a space between Odin and question. It doesn't highlight for me, but because I saw it, I will read it. He says, will Superman returns in the DCEU? All right, it looks like, I don't know if you're trying to say, will Superman return in the DCU or not? It's very similar to your next question. Also, please, if you're new to the channel, do not repeat questions. All right, I fall behind in the chat. I fall about 15, 20, 30 minutes behind in the chat. If you put the question in once, 99% chance I will get to that question before the stream ends. There's always the chance that the chat jumps on me and skips comments. Again, that's on YouTube. And in that case, I will tell you if that happens, and then you might be able to post your comment again. But please don't double post. Please don't double post, please. All right? I try and read everyone's question. Happy Dinosaur 8000. How's it going, good sir? Welcome to the chat. Bioman, how is it going? Tina says, should be run together. Yes, so Tina was telling Muhammad about how to contact me. Sasha Neon says, obligatory, I see you move back into your old house comments. Hey. There's only one person that can do that. Zero duality. And you're not him, Slicer. Forever Sci-Fi, who's a member on the channel. What is going on? He says, hail. Cavill Wingster says, George Clooney is greater than Batfleck. Fight me. Well, there's my pet troll in the chat. Always love seeing your comments, and that's a huge nay-nay. I say nay-nay to that, Captain Wingster. Absolutely huge nay-nay. George Clooney played George Clooney. He did not play Batman. Let's get that straight. Batfleck is not my favorite Batman by any means, but George Clooney is by far the worst because he doesn't even play the character. Nathan Slay says, I hope that Ben Affleck doesn't come back. He honestly wasn't that great of a Batman to me. Again, he wasn't my favorite, but I didn't hate him. I think that if he had a good director, and to be honest, if he was directing himself, I think that would already would be better than Zack Snyder's direction. He's not a director. I'm just going to put that out there. He is a visual person. I guess you could argue he is a visual director. But when it comes to persons, he does not get the best performances out of his actors. That is not his strong suit. He's not a Woody Allen. Woody Allen is notorious for getting the best performances from his actors. Why do you think so many people want to be in any Woody Allen movie? Like, go ahead and look to the cast of any Woody Allen film. You have, like, some huge names in Hollywood. Probably did not get a huge payday from the movie. And in some cases, they were in bad Woody Allen films. But the reason why they joined the cast was because they were like, hey, Woody Allen is notorious for getting people Oscar nominations because he is great at getting actors to do well on screen. Zack Snyder is not that kind of a director. He might be good with visuals, but even then, I'm not really a big fan of his visual style. But he's definitely not a actor's director. Alex McCarthy says, I hope that's true because Batfleck was awesome. Hail Batfleck. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Alex McCarthy. Hope that you enjoy. Soul Assassin says, though unlikely, I hope Ben comes back and makes Batman versus Deathstroke. Again, just the concept of having Batman versus Deathstroke, as little as I know about the character of Deathstroke, has me excited. And again, as I mentioned before, Ben Affleck has shown that he is a talented director. I mean, he's made some very solid films. And so I was always intrigued when it was announced that he was going to have his own film, and then unfortunately it got canceled. So yeah, if this turns out to be true, if he's not only staying on as Batfleck, but is also going to have his own film, that'd be fantastic. Ideally, of course. Rob D. Hey, Odin, I watched the first Thor over the weekend, and I honestly thought it was better than Ragnarok. Well, it's an origin story. I think that a lot of people are definitely more drawn towards the origin story style. I would definitely argue that I think it's the most cohesive of the Thor films, no question about it. Most people would say that Thor: The Dark World is by far the weakest, but I enjoy all three because I am definitely more biased towards Thor. I've always enjoyed movies that dive into mythology of some sort. I'm a history guy. So that's why I love films that deal with things like King Arthur, like legends, obviously Greek mythology, Norse mythology. Again, all those things are always so intriguing to me. And so I love stories that like delve into that. That's why, playing as little of God of War that I've played so far, if they were to make that into a movie, which I think is a plan right now, it would be freaking awesome. And I would be there opening night because I think that there's a lot of potential that they could have for that. But yeah, the first Thor is a solid film, man. So I'm not going to argue that point at all. I think that depending on the day, I might say the same thing, though I think Thor Ragnarok is much funnier. But that's just me. Christina Nardon, what's going on, Christina? Member on the channel says, hail, chat, and Odin. Thank you very much, Christina. I appreciate that. Forever Sci-Fi says Warner Brothers is literally throwing darts at a board to see what to do next. These rumors are them testing audience reactions. I think Forever Sci-Fi, that is a fair point to make. I still question the reliability of the sources just because I've never heard of the cultured nerd before who broke the rumor, again, reported on the rumor himself. So I don't know exactly if it's going to be true or not. However, Warner Brothers throwing darts, that makes sense. It kind of helps you realize, wait a minute, why would they just randomly announce the Snyder Cut right now at this time in history, right? And say it's a year out still. It's because they're literally trying to get as much attention on HBO Max as they can, trying to get as much, positive press out there. And yeah, in that way, throwing things out. All right, Muhammad, this is now the third time, not only that you haven't done own question right, but also you're asking the same question. Please do not post the same question multiple times. Again, it's 7:20 where I am right now. It's 7:04 in the chat. So I'm literally 15 minutes behind in the chat, dude. So I don't want to put people in timeout, but I don't like when people do that. Let's see. Nathan Slay says, Christian Bale will always be my Batman. I'm sick and tired of people dissing his Batman because of his voice. Well, here's the thing. It's really the voice in the second and third movie that is problematic. The first film, it's fine. It's just him, being all, like that. The problem in the second and third film is that they did some post-processing on his voice to make it sound deeper, and it just sounded cartoonish. And so I think that there is a valid criticism for the second and third movie, for Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Batman Begins, it's more of his natural voice, and I think it works for the character. Mark Lazarth, what's going on, dude? Mark says, speaking of services, I get Peacock for free with my Xfinity, but it has very little except Sci-Fi Channel movies. Yeah, Peacock is by far the weakest streaming service. You know how there's all those memes out there that try and talk about how you have these, upper tiered stuff and then the lower tiered stuff? I know there's a meme out there that has, like Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, pretty soon HBO Max, maybe at that second tier. And then all the way at the bottom, you have Peacock. Like below even the things like Pluto TV, which are not really streaming services, but offer, free TV, etc. Like Pluto TV is a better service by far, by a mile. It's a competent service. Peacock, everything I've heard about it has just been garbage. So I don't know why anyone would actually pay for it, except for the people that get it for free. And something tells me that ain't changing anytime soon. All right, so the chat is indeed about to jump on me. Let me see if any comments were actually skipped. Looks like no comments were skipped. Perfect. Let me jump over to my DLAF fam. DLAF fam, y'all been very, very patient. Thank you so much for your tremendous patience. But let me see where we left off in the chat. Let's see. We got Adam Frank and the Clans in the chat. What's going on? Mr. Peabody's over there as well. Hey, Gobba. Captain Neat Heist is over there as well. Captain Phonemo in the chat. What's going on? What's going on? Mr. Peabody says, we do not say nay, nay. Here we say neat. I see what you did there. He also says, AT&T, is that a snow walker I missed? This is Australia, man. I see what you did there. And AT&T. Captain the K-Man just resubbed for a month and is now on a 2-month sub streak. Dude, Captain K-Man, thank you very much for resubbing over on DLive, man. Thank you. Mr. B.I. says, reread the text I was saying. I don't thaw out till it reaches 86. If you think 86 would even bother me. Wait, what? If you think 86 would even bother me. It says you don't thaw out till it wait, what? Mr. Peabody, that didn't make any sense, bro. Come on. You can't have that Aussie talk up in here. I'm not fluent in that language. Come on, man. Camden High says, speaking of excommunicado, is Rosetta streaming tonight? It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if she eventually jumped on a stream. She's already been declared excommunicado. Mr. Peabody says, sorry. Mr. Peabody, thank you very much for the 3 lemon donation and for the ice cream and for another lemon donation as well. Dropping that stuff, bruh. Thank you. Captain Phonemo says, is the DC Universe service part of HBO Max? So I think right now the DC Universe is still a separate service, but there is a lot of content from it that is now going over to HBO Max. So season 1 of Doom Patrol, for instance, is on there. We'll talk about more of the content on there in a little bit. I'm going to do one more round on YouTube and then go into the articles covering some of the content that HBO Max is going to have, because I do want to talk about that a little bit as far as what movies are going to be there at launch, what shows are on the horizon as well. But I can say already that Doom Patrol, at the very least, is going to be premiering with HBO Max. Captain Phonemo, Hans Zimmer's score was amazing in Man of Steel. Yeah, the score was great, too. Mr. Peabody, you're hot? I would still be dressed as an Eskimo. 86 degrees, 106 degrees Fahrenheit? You're talking about when I was talking about New Orleans weather? You would not be dressed as an Eskimo in New Orleans, 106 degrees weather with humidity. The humidity there is abysmal. Have you ever been in a swamp? I don't think so. Adam in the Clan says, Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie I'd be fine with. Ah, yes. I mentioned and talked about that actually on the OMB podcast. So if you want to have access to that full podcast, you can see a clip of it on the channel from yesterday. Check out Patreon, Subscribe, Star, and memberships. Me and John Flickinger talk about that very subject matter. Mr. Peabody says, phonetically, neat. Mr. Peabody, can't show any Thor movies to Freya. It would be difficult to walk around with a large hammer stuck to her belly. This is true. Captain Adam Frank in the Clan just subscribed for a month. Captain Adam in the Clan. Thanks, dude. Welcome back to the captainship. Captain Phonemo says, when a single company has 3 different services with overlap, it gets confusing. Yeah, and what makes it even worse, dude, what makes it even worse, Captain Phonemo, is the fact that they have a video that they released yesterday explaining all of the differences. And so apparently HBO Go, that is what you get when you are subscribed already to the HBO service. HBO Now is a separate service for HBO when you don't have a TV service. And HBO Max is a separate service that gives you everything from HBO plus HBO Max specific content. Now, if that didn't confuse you already, if you have HBO Now, because it's the same price as HBO Max, you have the option to switch over. Now, I don't know why they're charging the same amount of money for HBO Now and HBO Max when HBO Max has everything that HBO Now has and extra content on top of it. My guess is that might be for a year, and HBO Max might increase in price, or subversely, you could have HBO Now decrease in price. But either way, man, it's pretty ridiculous. Let's see. Tina B says, Mead did a video earlier, and it sounds like AT&T is really pushing back at DC and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers still doesn't want the Snyder Cut, but they're kind of under orders. Yeah. We're now moving back over into the YouTube chat. By the way, it's 7:07 in the YouTube chat. It's 7:27 in real life as I'm speaking. I'm 20 minutes behind. So, Muhammad, I see you once again posting another comment. Dude, I hope that you got it now, man, but please stop posting the same thing. All right, that is, by definition, spam. And I do not allow spam on my channel. But anyway, Midnight's Edge, After Dark, great channel. Tom is a great dude. Midnight's Edge, too, fantastic. AT&T absolutely are the ones that seem to be behind a lot of this. And seeing that they are the parent company, they have the ability. Doesn't matter what the Warner Brothers executives thinks because AT&T pays those checks. Pays those checks. Thank you very much, Tina, for taking care of that. Forever Sci-Fi says, too many shades of beige on the screen. Too many shades of beige on the screen. You talking about earlier when I was showing that article? Going to Hobbit says, your thoughts on Memorial Day Ozark pool party? I have no idea what you're talking about. Let us see. Venom Broly 93. The YouTube Sony have been striked by Naughty Dog. Yes, Venom Broly, I saw that. So Arcade Outpost, Az from Heel vs. Babyface, they've all covered that story. So basically, PlayStation, the PlayStation Twitter account, posted a tweet about The Last of Us Part 2 with an image attached to it. I think it was promoting the trailer for it. And the image got copyright claimed by the copyright owner, meaning that they copyright claimed themselves. That is how completely incompetent the people over at Sony have become. Like, it's so freaking ridiculous. Dark Nest says, How are you, my good sir? How are you, my good sir? I'm doing fine. How are you? Let's see. Mirror Jeremy says, oh, okay, spitting in some Latin, yo. Give us another verse. Pater noster, quies in celi, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Take that. A little bit of the Our Father for you. Bruce says, in case you've not been to your P.O. box, Metropolis is there. I think I went like a day or two ago, so I'll have to go back. I'll probably check that out tomorrow when I'm coming back from work. Micah Martinez, what's going on, bruv? Says, if they were to bring Affleck back, I can imagine Ben Affleck being the main Batman in the DCEU and Pattinson being in a completely different universe similar to Joker. Micah Martinez, I can say already, unequivocally, that is already what's going on. Like, it does not matter if Ben Affleck is coming back or not. Pattinson's Batman is already going to be in a separate universe. I think they've already made that clear, that just like with Joker, Just like with Joker, this movie also will be taking place in a universe separate from the DCEU. They have not recast the DCEU Batman yet, and as we said earlier, with this new rumor, it looks like AT&T, maybe not Warner Brothers, but AT&T is interested in getting Ben Affleck back, and so therefore we probably won't get a recasting. And here's, I think, imagine this. Again, if you want to get DC fans, and even people like me excited, announce that Ben Affleck has returned to the role of Batman. The next movie featuring him will be The Batman, directed by him, co-written by him. And then if that movie is a success, then you announce his final film or, 2 more films left. But one of the films has to be a Batman Beyond film with him as old Bruce Wayne. I think, at his age especially, that would be awesome, because that means that the Batman Beyond film probably wouldn't be for, another 5 years or so? 5 years older? I think that would put him at a perfect age, because obviously it wouldn't be as old as necessarily the cartoon version of old Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond, but dude, I think it would work. I think it absolutely would work for sure. That's my thought. Glowing to Hobbit says, the Snyder Cut pushed me to buy a 1-year subscription of HBO Max. Boom, Glowing to Hobbit. Yeah, that's right. Because there's also a deal where you can get it for $11.99 a month if you buy a year's worth. So you save about $4 or so for the year. Bruce says, SpaceX is going to launch 2 astronauts heading to the space station tomorrow. I'm going to check out the launch. Anyone? I actually did not hear about that, but that sounds cool. Slicer Neon says, Karen voice, actually, it's not that Louisiana is hot and wet. It's that Louisiana is cold and dry, non-conforming, so there. Well, Karen, you can go away. Tina, thank you very much for deleting those questions. Hardwick says, Deborah Snyder said the decision to fund the completion of the Snyder Cut was because the visual effect houses are nearly out of work due to CV, and they needed the work. Wait, what do you mean? The decision to fund the completion of the Snyder Cut? I doubt that that's the only reason why they decided to complete the Snyder Cut. They're not, as great as it would be for corporations to be, generous, they're doing it. They might say they're doing it for X reason. They're doing it because they expect a return on their investment. So they very well could be helping those people out by giving them work to do because they haven't had work because of CV, but it's not because of that. They are not just doing, you don't just complete a movie and spend $10 to $20 million to give people work to do. I wish that was the case, but that's just not the world we live in. All right, they're doing it because they're trying to get money off of it, man. Rosetta Ellen. Oh, look at you, Rosetta. Not streaming tonight, eh? Good day, sweet Odin. At least I'm not crossing streams today, just exhausted. Well, I hope you don't. Don't want to declare you excommunicado once again. Micah Martinez says, I support the Snyder Cut despite not loving his DCEU films. I don't care that much about the air cuts, and I hope we never get the 3.5 hours Ghostbusters 2016 cuts. That will be a disaster. Yeah, hopefully, Kevin Feige or however you pronounce his name, hopefully he was lying. Actually, no, it's not. Is it? No, it's not Kevin. I'm thinking of Kevin Feige. Paul Feig. Paul Feig. Again, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Very similar to Kevin Feige, but not the same person at all. But anyway, I hope Paul's cut was just a joke because, dear Lord, who in the hell is asking for a 3.5 hour cut of Ghostbusters 2016? Oh, wait, that's right. Nobody. Actually, no. Sorry. About maybe half of the audience that actually went to go see the movie before it lost about $70 million at the box office. Give or take. But what would I know? Hardwick says, my release, hashtag the release the Kraken cut post with a joke based on the hashtag release Snyder cut and release the Kraken from Clash of the Titans. Very obscure. Very obscure. Michael Martinez, Paul Feig is still blaming the failure of Ghostbusters 2016 to the 2016 election. He can't take responsibility. Like, he is the typical Hollywood personality that can't be responsible for anything. Everything is someone else's fault. Oh, it's not my fault. And it's not the movie's fault. The movie was great. The movie pushed an agenda, and therefore it was fantastic. When in reality, it sucked. And the fact that it lost $70 million at the box office is very clear evidence of that fact. Nathan Slay says, not only was Henry Cavill one of the best parts of the DCEU, he was one of the best parts of Mission Impossible Fallout. I wouldn't want to fight him. Neither would I. And yeah, that was an excellent fight scene. Actually, I believe that fight scene got nominated for a Raven Award on this channel. So that's how great that fight scene was. Christina Nardon, what do you think will be the future of cable after streaming wars take over? Cable's basically dead. However, cable will return in a new format. So you have HBO Max, Disney Plus, Netflix, Prime Video, Peacock. I guess technically you can count that. You have places like Pluto TV. You have YouTube TV. You have, I'm probably missing some, but you have so many different streaming platforms and services out there. At some point, one of those services, like maybe a YouTube TV, they used to have PlayStation View, but then that one went under. That one went under. But basically, what you're going to have some companies. I imagine Google, Amazon would probably be two of the big ones. Probably not Netflix. I think honestly, Netflix is dead. I think Netflix might get sold at some point because with all these services going live, they're going to start losing a lot of the content that they've had. Now they have a lot of original content now. This is true, but is it going to be enough when HBO Max is not only offering original content, but also their entire library of content? And Disney Plus doing the same thing, right? Amazon Prime doing a lot of the same thing too. Amazon Prime, though, obviously is also hosting a lot of stuff from other places too. So Amazon Prime will eventually get hurt by it, but it already has different businesses, right? Amazon's such a huge company that it losing the movies and television shows it's hosting from other services, or rather from other companies, that won't hurt it all that much. And it very well could actually get into this game. They're already doing it, right? Amazon Prime, you can actually, through their service, subscribe to places like HBO. So what I think you'll see happen is you'll see the Amazon, you'll see the YouTube TVs. And what they'll do is they'll start to bundle packages together. So what they'll do is they'll say, okay, go ahead and spend $50, $60, and you get HBO Max, Disney Plus, this, and this. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to get those same cable packages, just now it's going to be for a new era. It's going to be online cable packages, essentially. So that's my thought. Good question, though. CW Trixie says the best Batman character is obviously Arnold from Mr. Freeze. Duh. What are you talking about? What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. It's a fantastic character. There's no question or doubt about that. Tina says, I think Clooney always plays Clooney. I've disliked him ever since ER. My youngest sister and I used to love teasing our mom about how much we despised him. Yeah, that is definitely a fair point. Captain Wingster, Odin, notice I said George Clooney, not George Clooney as Batman. You've been had, sir. That's why you're a troll, and you're a professional one at that. Micah Martinez says, I really enjoyed Batman in BVS, and he was the best part of that entire movie. He was terrible in Justice League, though. He was fine in BVS, but BVS had so many other problems that it was so hard to really enjoy that film. Again, acting-wise, Ben Affleck did a fine job, Henry Cavill did a fine job, but again, BVS had Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. There's just no recovering from that. No matter how good they are, everything else also that they had the issues with just can't do it. Gigamus Prime, Hail Odin. Would you rather Ben Affleck or Robert Pattinson as Batman? I prefer Ben because he is willing to do work for Batman. Well, Pattinson's willing to do so too. Again, going back to that interview that everyone's talking about, I think if you read it, it's fair to say that he was being either sarcastic or he was not being serious because we've seen pictures of him since the time of his announcement, and he was in good shape. He may not be buff, he may not be huge, but once again, he's in shape. He's healthy from all that we can really gather at this point in time. So the whole commentary about, oh, he's not willing to work out for the role of Batman, etc., I think was way overblown and way overplayed based on little information. As far as acting goes, I personally, this is just me, this is Odin speaking here, I think Robert Pattinson is a better actor. Just going to be honest about that. The roles that I've seen him play, he has a lot more range than Ben Affleck does, right? I'm not saying that Ben Affleck is a terrible actor, but based on the performances that I've seen from both actors, I think Pattinson has more range, and I enjoy his movies just a little bit more. Hardwick says, I'd like to see the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I think there's a much bigger chance of it being good than the Snyder cut being good. I know. Dude, Hardwick, I think that's a bad take, man, because the Suicide Squad has much less to go on than the Snyder cut does. The Snyder cut, you have hours of footage that was not actually seen on screen. We know very little about the Ayer cut, and from what we can gather, it's not nearly as much footage as what the Snyder cut had. And yeah, I don't have no desire to see an Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I'm interested and intrigued by the Snyder cut. And I do plan to watch that when it gets released. I don't have a lot of high hopes for it, but I'm at least interested. I have no interest at all to see a Suicide Squad cut. Forever Sci-Fi says, I'm George Clooney, and I'm sorry. Riff tracks Batman and Robin. Yes. Mirror Jeremy, what's going on, man? He says, tad off topic. Don't be off topic, dude. Come on. We don't have time for that. I still need to get to the HBO Max lineups. He says, but not since it was 40th anniversary. But some Disney fans were taking shots at episode 5 saying when the Falcon crew was hiding on the Meteor Empire dropped bombs that feel straight. Bruh, if you're going to try and put me off topic, at least put a sentence that makes sense. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Mirror Jeremy, you're better than that. I expect more. Let's see. Rob D says, with HBO Max now basically here, do you think any of the big streaming services will bow out in about 5 years? I think that Netflix has the most to lose. Personally, that's what I think has as far as the big streaming services go, because Netflix is going to be losing a crap ton of Disney content very soon in the next year or two. Same thing with a lot of Warner Brothers content as well. So, again, it does have a lot of original content, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep people on when people would rather go over to places like HBO Max, Disney Plus, etc. So if any service was going to fail, I would put my money on Netflix. Whether it's in 5 years or so, it's hard to say. Nathan Slay says, I am happy there is someone else in the world who doesn't hate Dark World. It's really not that bad. And again, is it a good movie? No. Objectively speaking, Dark World is not a good movie, Nathan, but I still enjoy it. Subjectively, it's an enjoyable film for me. Rosetta Allen says, one thing to tell you, I have 10 pages of the Eagle book done now and have an artist designing me a custom-drawn cover to do together. Just wanted to share that with you. Well, thank you very much, Rosetta. If you missed our Chosen of Valhalla stream on Sunday, Rosetta is planning to release a book featuring photos that she has taken of eagles. So please stay tuned to the channel for more information about that. And I'm sure that by the next Chosen stream in June, when we have the next Chosen Valhalla stream, that we'll have an update on that. There potentially could be, at that time, a Indiegogo campaign to try and help support that. Stephanie B is finally in the chat. What's going on, Stephanie B? Just 20 minutes late, no problem at all. I'm 22 minutes behind in the chat. So it's okay. Hope work was fine. CWD Trixie says, worst nightmare for movie cuts, if there is a 3+ hour cut of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. Dear Lord, please, no. Gosh. Please, God, no. I don't want it. I don't want it. Or whatever Az says on Friday Night Tights. We got 91 people watching. Please smash that like button. It really does mean a lot. All right, so as I mentioned before, it was around 7:22 in the chat. It looks like a comment or two may have been skipped, but if you posted after 7:22, you are fine. Greta Zenner is the last comment that was there, and it says, what up, Odin and everyone? What's going on, Greta? How you doing, girl? Glad to see you here. Go check out her channel. Make more videos, Greta. Seriously, I love her channel because she does movie history, and that's always a topic that I've loved to do. In fact, I think if Greta, if Miss Martin Muses, if Tina, and if Sharon Ferguson all got together and did like a collaborative stream together on movie history, I would watch it. I would love it. As soon as it's monetized, I would donate to it. Make it happen. Make it happen, please, because they know their stuff. Edgardo Martinez says, good night, everybody. Oh, Edgardo Martinez. Hope that your night goes fine. Rosetta Allen says, I am not streaming. Thank you very much. Thanks, Bree. I'm busting my butt in overwork. Well, relax, kick your feet up, and enjoy. Cavill Wingster says, Odin, did you hear Sony DCMA'd themselves over The Last of Us 2? Yes, talked about that. Nathan Slay, sometimes I'm just so desperate for box office breakdown videos that I'm watching your old box office breakdown videos. I miss them so much. Nathan, dude, I miss them too, man. Not gonna lie, I cannot wait for us to get something like, seriously, Tenet, July 17th. I'm praying it comes out because I want to cover its opening weekend numbers. And I hope that it overperforms in every single way possible, man. But yeah, dude, I can't wait to. And Nathan, if you're watching those videos, if there are some movies that I make predictions on or whatever, hey, look up the final numbers and let me know how close I was. Christina Nardon says, it's 85 degrees here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Ugh. No. I don't want it. Hardwick says, the complete Linda Carter Wonder Woman series is finally getting released on Blu-ray this year. I don't know why they didn't release it in 2017 to coincide with the movie. Well, most likely they were working on it because they would have had to do Blu-ray transfers of that series. And when you deal with television series, depending on when it was released, sometimes you are dealing with film, in which case it's a pretty straightforward process. It takes time to transfer the 35 millimeter that they likely would have been using for television over into a Blu-ray, like a 1080p scan or a 4K scan. Most likely what they did was a 4K scan and then just put it down to 2K. So it's still a lot of quality, still a lot of information that you're getting on those transfers, but on the Blu-ray format to make it cheaper. And also, does anyone really want to see TV shows aren't really made for 4K from what I've gathered. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of 4K releases of television shows. But on the flip side of that, when you also have TV shows that were filmed on not film, but on tape, quality is not nearly as good. And I don't know what the process is for transferring tape to digital. I imagine that it takes a long time because of the, technology that you need for it. And also that the quality is not going to be nearly as good. Kevin Wingster says, instead of saying nay, nay, say now, now. No, that doesn't work. How dare you? Yes, I had a dog. I had my puppy sleeping and snoring as well. I have two of them sleeping under the desk at my feet. It's so cute. Nathan Slay says, is A24 even a good movie studio? They've done some pretty good movies, so I would say yes. Rosetta Allen says, Tom is amazing. He truly is. He has a special place in my thank you, special place in my thank you in my book. Okay, so he's in the thank you section of your book. He's been like a brother to me. Dude, yeah, Tom's awesome. Mark Lazur says, his comment, too many shades of beige, was the beige of your room and the beige shirt you are wearing and the color of the cardboard boxes. Ah, yes. Well, this is actually technically a yellow shirt. So technically this is yellow. Yes, my entire room is beige, all right? And yes, there are still boxes that have not been unpacked behind me. I'm getting to it, but I have been binge watching. Speaking of things I've been watching, I finally started to watch Better Call Saul. I am now into the 3rd season, and I am obsessed with the show. And I've mentioned this previously, but I needed that 5-year break between Breaking Bad and this show, to start watching this show. And it's been a good transition process. It's been fantastic. I love it. Alrighty here. Granazena says, I think Batman is most recreated superhero ever. It feels that way. No question about it, especially when you think about all of the different versions of him that we've gotten. But Rosetta also makes a fair point, saying, actually, including comics, the most recreated comic book character is Spider-Man. That is also a fair point as well. However, I will actually fight you on that point, Rosetta, because think about how many different versions of Batman we've had since the 60s versus how many different versions of Spider-Man that we've had since the 60s. I want to say it gets pretty close, because already in the past, 10, 15 years alone, we've had 3 Spider-Man, right? We've had 3 Spider-Man. This is true. But we've also had, Batfleck. We've had Christian Bale. We have also had, I'm trying to think now, George Clooney. We've had Val Kilmer. We've had, oh my God, this is the one I'm forgetting. The one from Batman and Batman Returns. Oh shoot, what's his name? Y'all know in the comment section, but that's 5. Then you have the 1960s one. So you've had 6 different, again, live action here, not comics, not cartoons. You've had 6 different Batmans, live action. You've only had 3 live action, maybe 4. There may have been a live action back in the day, like 60s, 70s, that I don't know of. So technically, it is Batman. John Burkett says, I love Batman Beyond. Good stuff. Soul Assassin says, who would you have play Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond? Honestly, I don't have anyone in mind in this moment. Darkness says, what will be the first thing you watch on HBO Max? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm going to look and see what the original content they have is. Jeremy Swiggs says, I said it more than once and I'll say it again. You complete me. Jeremy Swiggs. You complete me, bro. Nathan Slay. Imagine if Justice League hadn't failed. I think if it did work, they would still continue to do a crossover universe. If the Avengers failed, I think Marvel would have done the same. Well, again, success always dictates the future. Hologram Nunchuck, do you think there will be a movie that has the CV going on in the background soon, maybe cheesy heist film? Oh yeah, no question about it. Knowing Hollywood, in about 2 to 3 years, there's going to be some movie based on current stuff going on. Rosetta Allen says, Odin. How long am I going to have to take crap for screwing up my Scream schedule? For a while. How long am I going to have to put up with not having 80s knowledge? Again, if you can't take it, don't dish it out. That's all I'm going to say. Greta Zena says, all these streaming services remind me of back in the day when the studios owned movie theaters and only played their movies. That's a fair point. It's definitely very similar. Cupcake Geek says, Martha, why is this happening? Ben returning to Batman. Nathan Slay says, all right, everyone, chill. God, such a great thing. Rosetta Allen says, can't stand Clooney. He always seemed overrated as F and extreme fully of himself. He's good in a couple of things, for sure. He's good in a couple of things, but yeah, he's definitely not that great in everything. Slicer Neon says, that you couldn't remember Crackle shows it might be worse than Peacock. But Crackle, I still think Crackle is a more full-fledged service than Peacock, though, even though I didn't remember it. Jeremy Swig says, you didn't like Eisenberg. Ding, 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 ding. Greta says, yeah, Robert Pattinson has proved that he is an actor that takes risks and commits to whatever he does. This is absolutely true. Megan Martinez says, I can't believe there are people that are defending Eisenberg as Lex. That performance was cringe-worthy and bad. Eisenberg is a fine actor, but he was completely miscast in BVS. Yes, it was. Anyone that's defending that role is basically blind. Like, basically, they are so blind to defending everything Zack Snyder does that they've come to the point of even defending bad acting. And that, you never want to go that far. You want to be able to check your bias at the door before you go that far. Glenn the Hobbit says, breaking news, Doug Liman to direct Tom Cruise in Outer Space Shot movie collaboration with Elon Musk and NASA. Is that true? I don't know. Megan Martinez says, I might get HBO Max tomorrow or soon after. I'm intrigued by this service so far. Well, I already am going to get it because I have HBO now, and I will be switching over to HBO Max because it includes everything plus more. Dark Knight says, I believe Star Wars was never good. The best is Empire. Wait, I believe Star Wars was never good? The best is Empire, and that is a 5 out of 10 at best. Sorry, this is off topic. That's extremely off topic, Darkness. And that, as I mentioned previously to someone else, that's a bad take, bro. All 3 Star Wars films are good movies. Like, they're very well-made movies. In fact, they're revolutionary movies for the industry overall. Empire is by far the best movie, no question about it. But for you to say Empire is a 5 out of 10, even objectively speaking, that is way off, bro. Christina Nardone says, do you think there will be an app for HBO Max on Windows and Android iOS devices? Christina, great question. There is. So basically, if you have HBO now, tomorrow it is going to update as HBO Max. That is the email that I got from them. Again, so that is the email that I got from them. And so with that in mind, I would say if you want to get it first and you already have HBO Now or you want to sign up for HBO Max, download the HBO Now app and tonight it'll switch over and then you'll have the option to sign in with your HBO account if it even asks you, because it says that it might even just transfer automatically so that when you open the app, you're already signed into it. So yes, there will be an app for Android, iOS tomorrow. And for Windows, I'm not sure on Windows yet, but I imagine that there probably will be. If there isn't, then it's going to be a web-based. There's going to be a website to go to, just like with Disney Plus and Netflix, etc. Edgardo Martinez, thoughts on Netflix's Narnia? I haven't seen it. Was it just announced? If so, I don't have high hopes for it, personally. Just me, though. And the chat has jumped on me once again, so let me just make sure that no comments were skipped. Looks like no comments were skipped, which is fantastic, but let me go ahead and find where we left off in the chat. All right, cool, there we are. So let me catch up with my D-Live peeps, and then we'll dive into the HBO Max news and talk about what we can expect from the service. I will do the very best that I can to catch up with D-Live fam. All right, Captain Phonemo says, I'm hoping Disney responds to HBO Max's moves to garner goodwill with fans and Disney announce an Obi-Wan Western-style trilogy. That could be really cool. Obviously, I don't trust Disney with Star Wars at this point, so I would be very, very hesitant to be excited about that. But Disney Plus definitely has to do something to respond to it, especially if those opening day numbers come out and it's better than Disney Plus's, and they have less issue than Disney Plus, which is more likely seeing that HBO has already been in the streaming game for many years now. I think that they'll definitely have to respond with something. Mr. PY says, he was talking about the pool party in Minnesota where there was no social distancing, and I agree it was reckless. Camden High says, oh, by the way, Duck Fisney. Absolutely, hashtag Duck Fisney. All right, some chats. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you very much for subbing. He is now celebrating a 9-month sub streak. Thank you, Captain Mr. Roy, for being a 9-month sub over on DLive, man. I appreciate you. Captain Adam and the clan says, Prime costs $5.99 a month, and you can add any other package for almost every app on it, HBO, CBS, Disney, etc. All are on Prime. Exactly, and that's why I was mentioning beforehand. You're going to have places like YouTube TV and Amazon Prime, and they're going to offer these packages, but instead of just adding it, because right now, from what I can gather, Amazon charges the basic rate. It's just everything is handled through Amazon, and it's one bill versus having to go to every single service and sign up individually through them and then have to pay 1,000 different bills. But what I think is going to end up happening is that the services are going to become more pricey, and Amazon and YouTube are going to start to bundle them. They're going to make deals with these companies, bundle them together so that you're paying a cheaper price overall. However, you'll have to buy a package that has all the services in them. I think that is going to be the future. Captain High says, did you hear about Labyrinth getting a sequel? I did, and I think it's terrible news. Do not touch Labyrinth, please. Please do not touch the Labyrinth. All right? The original is fantastic. You cannot make that movie without David Bowie. If you were going to make a sequel, you should have made it years ago. But David Bowie's gone. Rest in peace, David Bowie. And since David Bowie's gone, you can't make the movie. Simple. And stop. So please do not make a sequel. Don't make a prequel. Don't touch it. Leave it alone, please. You're out of ideas. Create something new. Captain Mr. Roy says, the Deer Hunter 4K that I won a few weeks ago came in today. Thank you. Captain Mr. Roy, so glad it finally came in. Obviously, you knew that it was a pre-order, so you knew it would take a while until it actually got released. But yeah, Deer Hunter is now available on 4K. So obviously shipping out now via Amazon. So I hope that you enjoy that 4K copy of Deer Hunter. Film I've only seen once, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Captain Adam and the Clan, I have Hulu for my brother. I paid for Prime with Disney on it and hooked Kaba up so he can have fun with it. Also have CBS for the wife. CBS and WWE because maybe you'll go back and do WWE streams again. Wink, wink. Maybe. Again, if that were to happen, it would probably be through Sports Wars, because I'm trying to do some more videos for Sports Wars, but that would probably be the only way. Captain Mr. Roy, thank you for the diamond donation. Thank you for the 2 diamond donation. Captain Adam and the Clan, thank you for the 5 lemon donation. I appreciate that. Mr. Peabody says, Greta, where are our videos? Damn right. Captain Phonemo, everyone needs to stop complaining about the heat. It was 105 today. None of you know what heat is. Dear Lord. Yeah. One place I would never want to live, Arizona. It is hot. It be hot. Captain Dean Heist, thank you for the 3 ice cream donations. Captain Phonemo, VHS tapes have character. My VHS of The Thing is still my favorite version with all that grain. I see. I don't like VHS as far as quality goes. I don't mind film grain. So if I saw like a 4K transfer or even a 2K transfer, like a 1080p video transfer of a 35 millimeter print, I wouldn't mind seeing the color corrected film grain. In fact, I have various versions of Star Wars, for instance, and there's one that's called the Grindhouse Edition. And basically it is a 35 millimeter scan, but it has no color correction. It has no noise reduction at all. And so basically it's like watching this, and it's a very beat up copy, but still it's there in its completion. Copy of, I think it's Empire Strikes Back. And it's beautiful. So that I'm okay with. So let us see. Mr. Peabody says Linda Carter would still look good if they transferred her image using Silly Putty. Captain Phonemo, Zac Effort for Terry in Batman. Zac Efron. Zac Efron. He's a little too old for Terry now. Because I'm not an expert on Batman Beyond, but I always thought that Terry was like a teens, like late teens, early 20s. Zac Efron's in his got to be close to 30 now. So I think that Zac Efron's ship may have sailed on that character. I do like him, though. I think Zac Efron's an underrated actor, to be honest. Captain K-Man, thank you for the ice cream donation. I appreciate it. Yakopu02, Thank you for following over on DLive. Peabody says, Empire, a 5 out of 10. Where is he? He needs to be touched by a 2x4. I see what you did there. He's over on YouTube. Captain Adam the Clan, Hulu, ESPN, and Disney have a set price for all three right now. Yeah, they're all owned by the same company, so that makes sense. My thought is, again, you're going to have YouTube or Amazon work out even better deals than that. Let's see. Ear Can, thank you for following. Adam the Clan, package deals for sure. I just want Zac Efron as Batman, says Captain Faux Nemo. Again, personally, I would not hate that. All right, so I'm going to fall even further behind in the YouTube chat now, but let's go ahead and dive into some of the HBO Max news. All right, so we talked earlier about how there is a rumor that Ben Affleck is going to be returning as Batman and also will get his own film, so we'll see if that rumor pans out. But HBO Max comes out tomorrow, and with it, it'll be a lot of content. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the news dealing with this issue, including talking about some of the stuff that is going to be released. All right, so this is from Wikipedia, a very valid source in today's terrible woke media frenzy. Warner Media indicated the service would have 10,000 hours of content at launch. I believe it, including first run and library content from the namesake HBO, including HBO original series, documentaries, and specials. So if you had HBO or ever know about HBO, you know there's already a hell of a lot of content on there. Everything in HBO is on HBO Max, and content from companies' other brands and networks, including New Line Cinema, DC Entertainment, TBS, TNT, True TV, CNN, Cartoon Network, The CW, Turner Classic Movies, Tina, that's a big one. Both you and I know that's a big one. Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, and Adult Swim. They are making a huge play towards the anime fan crowd. And once this thing, because unfortunately it's just going to be released in the United States tomorrow, from what I know, maybe Canada, but at the very least it's going to be North America, and over time it'll release to other countries over time. But they're making a huge play at the anime, and I think that is something. Someone made a comment on one of my videos, and I forget the person's name, but if you're watching this, shout out to you. And I made sure I left the comment actually on his comment because it was that good. And they basically pointed out saying, people are underestimating the power of the anime brand that HBO Max is bringing in, because they have all of the Studio Ghibli films. They are going to have a crap ton of anime series. And to have that all in one place and add on to that the entire HBO library and all the things I just mentioned, that is freaking huge. That is a huge deal. All right, Warner Media stated that the service would have over 2,000 films available at launch. 2,000. Including HBO's existing pay television rights sourced from studios including sister company Warner Brothers, Universal, and 20th Century. So again, obviously until Universal gets its own streaming service, again, I don't know, maybe is that NBC? I don't even know. But once that gets its own streaming service, I'm sure those movies will be taken off. 20th Century Fox, obviously, 20th Century, eventually those movies will leave the service and go to Disney Plus or Hulu. And other library films. As with HBO's existing streaming platforms, HBO Go and HBO Now, but as opposed to its platform on Apple TV channels and Amazon Video channels, HBO Max is not expected to include feeds of HBO's linear cable channels, nor is it expected to include any content, including original programming from Cinemax, which will concurrently wind down its original programming efforts as Warner Media relocates its programming investments towards HBO Max. Cinemax shares its film content with the linear HBO channel, and as such, film content featured on both pay services will be provided to HBO Max via HBO's existing contracts with its film content distributors. So basically what that means is that HBO Max is already getting access to all the things on HBO, and that as Cinemax winds down, all the stuff that's currently on Cinemax is going to make its way over to HBO Max, but not at launch. They're going to wind that down a little bit more slowly because I know there are still some active things going on that channel. But also it seems to indicate that HBO Max is not going to be in the same boat with Amazon and Apple TV for now. Again, that could change. Maybe it will be available starting tomorrow where you can purchase it for the same price. And maybe the HBO Now that you have through Amazon or you have through Apple TV will become HBO Max. But either way, it can be a little confusing. But you're getting a crap ton of content nonetheless. All right, so that's just a little bit of the information there. These are the films and documentaries, etc., that are going to be available on HBO Max at launch. All right, so I'm just going to go through some of the highlights here. So 13 going on 30. You might not think that's a highlight. Tina, You know what I'm talking about. It's a great film. 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's huge, right? That is huge. I know there's a lot of people that are fans of Adventure Time. So that's a series that's going to be on there. Aqua Teen Hunger Force is going to be on there. Batwoman, season 1. Everyone loves Batwoman, right? Need I say more? You got The Bodyguard on there. Casablanca, huge one for me. Chariots of Fire, huge. Citizen Kane. You got The Color Purple, The Conjuring, probably The Conjuring series, The Dark Knight, DC films, all live action movies from the past decade. You got The Departed, Dexter's Laboratory, Doctor Who, Doom Patrol is going to be on there. Falling Skies, that's a show I actually got into for a while and fell behind on. I might have to go back to that. The Flintstones, the original cartoon. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends, the entire series. Gossip Girl, OMG, Gossip Girl, XOXO. Happy Feet, The Hobbit Trilogy, Iron Giant, Impractical Jokers, of all things, The Jetsons, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, The Last Samurai, The Looney Tunes Collection, The Lord of the Rings Trilogy, Magic Mike, The Matrix Trilogy, Ocean's 11, The OC, guys, The OC, Pride and Prejudice, Rick and Morty, Robot Chicken, Samurai Jack, the entire Samurai Jack series, Scooby-Doo, the entire series, Sesame Street, the entire series, Shawshank Redemption, The Shining, Space Jam, South Park, the entire Studio Ghibli collection. That is huge in and of itself. Watchmen, Wizard of Oz, West Wing, When Harry Met Sally, Whose Line Is It Anyway, the unscripted series, Wonder Woman, etc. So again, those are just stuff that's going to be there already on top of everything else. Before HBO Max even launches, it goes live May 27th. Again, that's tomorrow. Warner Media is trying to lure new subscribers by revealing what's coming next month to the streamer. The June lineup highlights on HBO Max include all 23 seasons of South Park. So all of South Park will be available starting in June. That's huge. You'll also have Titanic, Adventure Time Distant Lands as well. Again, it'll be $15 per month, which is the same as their HBO Now service. And it says here it'll be available on multiple platforms. So some people have been wondering about this, and distributors through deals including with Apple, Google, Charter, Xbox, PlayStation, and AT&T DirecTV. As of this writing, however, Warner Media has not locked in HBO Max deals with Comcast, Roku, or Amazon. I imagine, though, this one came out not too long ago. I imagine that you'll see it be available on Roku. I can't imagine they will not have an app on Roku or on Amazon, but of course, those are all being worked on at this point in time. You got Doom Patrol mentioned here, Veronica Mars, Magic Mike, Chicago Cabaret. You've got Mail. Again, I'm really going into this for the classic movie content because they're having a crap ton. And here's some of the stuff that's coming in June. So let's see, Adventures in Baby. Oh, this is one that actually John Flickinger told me about, Adventures in Babysitting. So I might have to watch that. The Bucket List, fantastic film. Chicago. Clash of the Titans. I know there's a Clash of the Titans fan in here. The entire Final Destination franchise. Full Metal Jacket, From Dusk Till Dawn. Hannah. As I mentioned, The Hobbit. So it looks like some of this stuff might not be available for another 3 days or so. But as you can see, a crap ton of movies. The entire Ninja Turtles collection. Oh boy. I love those. So again, a lot of things coming as of June 1st. So you have a crap ton of content coming to HBO Max. A lot of those classic titles that I mentioned, that is one of the main reasons why I am very excited about it. It's one of the many reasons why I'm very excited about HBO Max going live tomorrow. So I cannot wait to get that app update. And I cannot wait to dive further into that world. But yeah. Anyway, let me jump back into YouTube. So again, YouTube world, I'm now about 30 minutes behind in the chat. All right, so I'll try and get to everyone's questions. Some comments may be skipped at some point, but we'll see. Glowing the Hobbit says, I will watch Alita Battle Angel as my first movie on HBO Max. Yeah, of all the things, I didn't see it listed, but that would make sense because I believe it might already be on HBO. It's not going to last long, though, because it is a Fox property, and so it's going to eventually go over to Disney Plus or Hulu. But yeah, if it's there. Forever Sci-Fi says, Netflix sells subscriptions. The ones like Amazon that sell views instead of newer releases will make more money. Imagine how much they could have made selling Stranger Things at $2 an episode. That's a fair point, dude. And I bet they'll think about that in the future. to make that money back. Greta Zenner says, I've been back at work for a while, so it's been difficult to make a video lately, but I'll try and get one out within the week. Boom. That's a promise. Greta, that's a promise. I expect a new video within the week. Nathan Slay says, which movie left you shocked? Like, which movie left your jaw dropped wide open? I don't know about the jaw being open. However, one movie that had me on the edge of my seat at the very end is the movie Whiplash. Seeing that movie for the first time in theaters was a life-changing experience. It's one of my favorite modern-day films, and I was literally on the edge of my seat with that ending. I never thought a drum solo could tell so much story and move me so much. Captain Wingster, Odin must be a slow learner because he's always falling behind. Boom, boom, shh, I hear what you're saying. And screw you. Mikey Martinez says, I missed the box office breakdowns as well. Those were fun to watch and well-informed. I'm praying that Tenet makes its release date. I think there's a 50-50 chance of it happening. I think I'd say that's a fair statistic to throw out. Captain Wingster says, Odin, could you say in As voice, Robert Pattinson, I love him so much. I love him so much. I can't do As. As does it so much better than I can. Ben, I love him so much. I love him. Ben V, when did you really start getting into movies? Love your work and keep it up. Ben V, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. I always love seeing you in the chat, man. And basically, high school. When I started high school, I want to say around 9th grade, I was going almost every weekend. So that was the main thing that me and my friends did, was we went to go see movies every weekend. And so that's why I have movie ticket stubs dating back as late as 2003. The first ticket stub I have is actually for Mean Girls back in 2003. It's so faded, it doesn't even show up anymore. I don't even know where those are ever since I've moved twice now to Tennessee, and to the first house and now to the new house. I don't even know where they are. I'm sure they're somewhere. But yeah, at some point I want to preserve those. I'm trying to find out the best way to do that. And the best, I know that there's like albums that you can put in and it preserves them, but I'm trying to find the best one. If you have any idea about how to preserve movie tickets best, please contact me and let me know. Send me a link to something. But yeah, high school, man. I just went all the time. I saw anything too. Back then, I didn't care if it was good or not. Like, I went to go see, there's a movie called Torque, which is a poor man's version of Fast and Furious. I saw that bad boy 3 times in theaters, not because it was good or because I enjoyed it. It's because I had 3 different groups of friends that wanted to go see a movie. And the first group, I think we planned to see it. And then the other 2 groups said, we're going to the movies. And I'm like, oh, let's go see this or this. Like the newer films that were out. And they were like, no, we want to see this. And I'm like, all right, I'll join. That's how much I went to the movies. I saw bad movies more than once then. Rob D, what are some of your pet peeves with movies? I hate when you need to turn the volume to max to hear dialogue, but the action scenes will blow up your speakers even at medium volume. That's a great pet peeve, yeah. When the sound design is terrible, when the sound mixing and editing is not up to snuff, that drives me crazy. That's one of my criticisms, not of a movie, but of a television show. The Expanse, I can't watch The Expanse because their sound design is terrible. You can't hear a damn thing anyone's saying. Like, I don't have a TV where you can play around with settings. So at just the standard setting, you can't hear anything. It's or at least it's very difficult. And I don't play that way. So I would actually say that's probably a good pet peeve to have. Forever Sci-Fi says, that's yellow. Must be using a Snyder filter. Oh, you're so funny. Rosetta Allen says, look into the Spider-Verse comics. That's why I included comics as well. Odin, the Spider-Verse comics is like Spider-Man Hive kicked open. Oh yeah, if you're going to include the comics, I'm not an expert on the comics, so that's unfair for me. Michael Keaton, damn it, says Tina. Thank you. I like how Greta immediately after very kindly just says, Michael Keaton? Is that what you meant, Michael Keaton? While Tina's like, Michael Keaton, damn it! I hate you. I love Tina. That's when you know you've been with the channel too long, is when you're talking to me like that. Come on, it's Michael Keaton, damn it! Come on. Shout out to my Valkyrie, Tina, though. She's awesome. Darkness calls me out then. How did you forget Michael Keaton Batman? I didn't forget Michael Keaton Batman. I just blanked on his name. It happens. I have memory issues. Are you new to the channel? This has been established that I forget names all the time. It happens. John Ellis Bush says, you are forgetting about the Japanese Spider-Man series. Wait, they had a live action Japanese Spider-Man series? Yeah, I don't remember that. Thanatos Felicitas says, I know there's one Spider-Man TV series from the 80s. I think there was one in the 90s. Yeah, could be. Tina B. And there were other Batmen? There were a few old Batman weekly serials back in the 40s, and they are awful. Well, damn, that's sad to hear. Rosetta Allen says, forever, but you can change your 80s knowledge. I can't undo the stream. Sure you can. Just never do it again. And one way to ensure that is by always reminding. Laura Story, I see you waving at me. Hope that you're enjoying the show, listening in the background. Forever Sci-Fi, I don't want a live-action Spider-Verse movie without Spider-Woman from the Bollywood Superman movie. That's a thing? That's a thing? What? All right. Chat jumped on me like I knew that it would. Let's see. Were any comments skipped? Yes, indeed. Comments were indeed skipped. So it's 7:56 is the last comment that I have here. It's 8:15 where I am. So I'm still about 20 minutes behind in the chat, but let me catch up with my D-Live fam real quick. Let's see. Captain Adam says package deals for sure. Captain Phonemo, I just want Zac Efron as Batman. Captain Phonemo, why is it they made a paragraph and not a simple list? Yeah, Captain Phonemo talking about the, I've been trying to find a conclusive list. The thing is, when a service has not been officially released yet, they only, basically the lists that do exist are just from whatever press releases have been given so far. HBO has not given an exclusive, here are all the things we have. They've only featured various content. And the reason why is it makes sense because they're promising everything that's already on HBO. So take everything on HBO and then add extra stuff to it. And then they're already going to be adding stuff in June and as the months go on. So I imagine that's probably why they don't have an exclusive list, but I'm sure once it goes live, someone will painstakingly go through every single thing they have and put an official list out. Captain Phonemo, I can blare, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go ninja, go. Yes, you can, Captain Phonemo. That entire Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live action series of movies will be on there. Yes, the ninja rap, bam. Absolutely, dude. All right, Captain Adam McClan. First, scan them into your PC so you have the tickets digitally, then could always frame them. Scan them. That's one. But you see, I like having the physical stub, man. It's like I collect physical movies, physical media. I also collect my ticket stubs. Mr. Peabody says, do what Adam said, scan them, then laminate them. Because lamination is problematic, though, because tickets, for those that are not aware, movie tickets are basically, it's not ink in some situations that's on there. It's actually done through heat. And so the problem with lamination is that the heat could actually ruin the ticket. So that's why I have not done lamination at this point. All right, caught up with D-Live. All right, jump back over to YouTube. Hardwick says, David Ayer has implied that Warner Brothers cut tons of material from Suicide Squad. He even said that his cut, Harley Quinn, had a good character arc that the studio eviscerated. His words. Again, Hardwick, I'm not even going to touch on it, man. Darkness says, I believe you also can't make Labyrinth without Jim Henson either. I agree with you. Perfect. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Even if you have his company, without him and without David Bowie, it's just not the same. Bruce says, I just saw this news on my homepage. Tom Cruise's outer space shot movie with Elon Musk and NASA lands director Doug Liman. And I saw someone else mention that, so let me go ahead and just Google search that real quick. Yes, Deadline has indeed reported that is the case. And for anyone that is wondering, Doug Liman, so he is going to be the one set to make that film. He has a very hodgepodge filmography, which includes movies like Swingers, which I've heard great things about, The Bourne Identity, which is fantastic, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, not that great, Jumper, I enjoy it, but it's not a good movie. Here's the best one for me, Edge of Tomorrow, which is a fantastic movie, very underrated. The Wall, which was a pretty fun movie overall. I believe actually John Cena was actually in that movie. American Made I actually enjoyed very much, and he's also doing a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow called Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat, which is just the worst title to a movie. But you know what? The first film had a terrible title too, and it was a great film. So, yes. So Doug Liman, maker of those films, is indeed going to be making that movie in space with Tom Cruise. Could be fun. John Ellis Bush. Bowie died and the world went to absolute crap. That's a fair statement. That's absolutely a fair statement. All right, I'm going to skip that comment because I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. This one guy, man, he started a fight with me last time he was here. He's trying to start one again. And you might not think you are, but that's what you're doing. And I want some calm. I want some nice, fun stuff going on. Sia Productions says, hello there. Hello there, Sia Productions. Rob D says, do you think there will be a physical media format after 4K? Rob D, yes. They're already talking about it. 8K is already here. So there's 8K televisions. Eventually, you will have 8K discs. However, at this point, 4K is about as much as the human eye can really fully appreciate. 8K might, you could argue, might be one of those last things where you could make a point, oh, well, it's twice as much quality. But in the end, man, I think that 4K is about as good as we're going to get, especially when you talk about HDR content, because that's what changed the game. Like 4K isn't better because it's a higher quality image or there's more, data. It's a better format because of the HDR, because you get better color reproduction, because you get a truer image of what the film actually looked like. What the director actually envisioned for the film to look at. It's the closest you can get to a theatrical screen's projection. And so 8K, it'll be a higher quality, right? It's going to be a higher quality, but because it's already going to have HDR just like 4K does, it's not going to be as game-changing. So the jump from Blu-ray to 4K is huge because not just you have double the amount of information, but you also have that HDR going, right? Better color reproduction, truer image to the what the film was meant to look like. 8K is only going to have, you could argue, double the information, but it's not going to have that jump in quality like Blu-ray to 4K was, if that makes any sense. Rosetta Allen says, I got to go, darlings, have fun. Anpetsu Waste, Waken, Takan, Kichi, Un. You know that I can never pronounce that correctly. And what are you going to do? Go stream against me again? Midnight's Edge at the Dog. What's going on, Tom? Mead is in the chat. Mead's good people. Mead is very, very, very good people. Yes. Hardwick says, regarding your film versus tape, Wonder Woman 75, the show was shot on film, and there's been a gorgeous HD transfer of it on DC Universe for a couple of years now. Boom, there you go. Glad to hear it was on film. Much better for it to be a shot on film because the transfer is going to look a lot better. Nathan Slay. I may have said this in another chat, but I own Toy Story 1 and 2 on VHS. I don't have the ability to watch them currently. It's sad. I love those movies. I know, don't support Disney, but, well, Nathan, what you could do is you can go to eBay. eBay normally has a lot of Blu-rays on sale for a decent price, and there is a set out there of Toy Story 1, 2, and 3. Because Disney were idiots and made a fourth movie that sucked, you can probably find the trilogy, the version that I have, for a pretty decent price, because most people are going to want to have the complete collection. But let's be honest, 1, 2, and 3 are the only 3 Toy Story movies. Let's just be perfectly honest there. So you can probably find it on eBay. And if you buy it on eBay, Disney does not directly get any of that money. So that would be my recommendation, because I also love the first 3. Tina says, my mom liked 13 going on 30. It's a fun chick flick, all right? No shame here. Citizen Michael Caine. Rhaegar, I saw that comment. I had to read it, man. So he says, Citizen Michael Caine. Yes, I saw a ruby the size of a tangerine. Alex McCarthy says, I like Mayor Kane better than Citizen Kane. What? That's crazy, yo. That's crazy. Bruce says, I'm going to be very pissed off if this means South Park gets pulled from cable broadcast. So it likely won't be, because I believe the contract with Comedy Central still exists. And also, what that means is that Comedy Central, who owns... Again, please don't post in the chat, because I'm Googling it myself, all right? I don't need you telling me in the chat, because I'm Googling it myself. Comedy Central is owned by parent company Viacom. Okay, and Viacom, let's go ahead and dive into their portfolio, is CBS, all right? So CBS has CBS All Access, but obviously they don't care enough about that. They don't care enough about their own service, where they were willing to sell South Park, the rights to South Park, the streaming rights to South Park, for a huge sum of money. I want to say it was like in the multiple millions of dollars for them to buy South Park. So with that in mind, the new episodes will probably still, I imagine, will still be going to Comedy Central. If I'm wrong on that, though, I will find that. Darkness says, I will be watching the 90s Turtles movies first. Those are great movies. Mirror Jeremy says, I'm rushing or I'm dragging. Am I rushing or am I dragging? J.K. Simmons is so great as Terrence. Yes, him in that movie, that entire scene of him basically like emotionally abusing the characters is just so freaking fantastic. Harvey says, Mystery of the Wax Museum from 33 is now on Blu-ray. I highly recommend it. Glenda Farrell was great in it, and it's a 2-strip Technicolor. It's the movie House of Wax was a remake of. I've actually never seen House of Wax before. HybridX13, sorry I came late. Mom and I were watching the movie 1408. Ooh, that's an interesting film. Wouldn't say it's a good film, it's an interesting film. Orange Hat reviews, the original TMNT inspired me to get into martial arts. Great movies. The third was the weakest, though, in my opinion anyway. Original was the best, as it was visceral and edgy. The first one is the best made movie. The second one might be the most fun, because you have Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. Vanilla Ice, come on. Can't really beat that. Harwick says that HBO Max might also have the HD transfer of Mystery of the Wax Museum because it's a Warner Brothers movie. Could be the case. Again, they're not putting everything in their library on there. However, I hope over time, eventually, they do. Because, it'd be so great just to have that as a resource. Forever Sci-Fi, I've got a ticket stub from 96 Independence Day. That is awesome. Forever Sci-Fi says, Odin doesn't forget. His memory just jumps on him. Forever Sci-Fi, I think that is a perfect explanation of how my memory works. There is no doubt about that. All right, the chat has jumped on me just like my memory does, but luckily, no comments were skipped. Yay! No comments were skipped. That is so beautiful. All right, cool. Let me check up with my DLive people. Also, we got 79 people still watching. 79 people still watching. Please smash the like button. I would appreciate it very much so. All right. DLive. Campo Nemo says, I wonder what the insurance for the movie will cost. For what movie? Context. Okay. Because it was close to this. The space movie. I imagine that it's going to be insanely expensive. He's talking about Tom Cruise. Thank you for adding the context after that. I appreciate that, Phonemo. Peabody says, so past 4K, we are going to need implants. Yeah, dude. So once 8K comes out, I would say after 8K, VR will likely be the future. So not just watching a movie, but being a part of a movie, I think will be the next thing. If you want to have a good indication of where the future of cinema and really the future of gaming and everything is heading, there's a great book, terrible movie, great book called Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Don't watch the movie by Spielberg because Spielberg screws it up really bad. It's probably the worst Spielberg film I've ever seen. And I'm sure there's another one that I'm not thinking of, but that's like the worst one I can think of off the top of my head. The book, though, is fantastic. The audiobook is also very, very well performed, and that gives us, I think, a great insight into what the future of our society is going to look like. Let's see. Gloin to Hobbit says, no Harry Potter on HBO Max at launch. Yeah, not on those lists that I saw, not on the list there. However, it very well could be on it at launch, and it's just not being listed. As I said, I imagine that there's probably a lot of things that are not being listed that are going to be there either at launch or not long after the launch. So I think I want to say, Gloin, that Harry Potter was listed at one point. I want to say I saw that on a list. The only reason why it would not be listed is if they had already given streaming rights of those movies to another company, and that contract has not expired yet. It will be. So once those contracts expire, it will come over to HBO Max. And I think it might be, but don't quote me on that. Mirror Jeremy says, I send you a DM on Twitter showing you a picture of what you can do with your ticket stubs. Thank you, Mirror Jeremy. I appreciate that. I'll check that out after the stream. Orange Hat Review says, have you seen 47 Ronin? I've not. It just never looked very good because the CGI looked awful. Soul Assassin. Tom Cruise is a maniac, but makes good movies, so he'll get a pass. No, in real life, he's insane. There's no question about that, but his movies are badass. I like them for that very reason. All right, let us see. Nitrium says 4K is actually 4 times the information of 1080p. It's double both vertical and horizontal resolution, 4 times the detail. If you want a conceptualize it, 1 to 1 equals 1, 2 to 2 equals 4. Ah, yes, Nitrium. Thank you for that, man. I think the reason why I always say 2 times is because normally a 1080p Blu-ray is from a 2K scan, like from a 2K like a 2K movie basically, but the resolution is only 1080p, and so therefore it is actually under 2K resolution for some reason. So I think that's the reason why I end up going with that. But yes, technically that would be correct. Good shout. Forever Sci-Fi says, gotta be careful on eBay. I bought Pump Up the Volume and it had giant Korean subtitles across the screen. Well, Forever Sci-Fi, that's why you always want to check to make sure the seller has a lot of sales and good ratings. That's why I bought this bad boy. So I'm an old school person, and this is a Pebble Time Steel. So Pebble is a company that no longer exists, but their watches are still very high quality. This was a brand new. So again, had never been open box. Pebble Time Steel. I got it for like $100 on eBay, which for this and seeing that there's no more being made, eventually this is going to be a very valuable item, but also I got it because it's very, very sturdy and reliable. So, and my Android was not like my Android watch was not working very well with the new iPhone. So I went to my original Pebble, which is great. However, because it had been sitting in a box for a long time, it was starting to degrade, and the buttons weren't made of a very stable material. These are made out of metal, so it's going to be just a lot more stable over time. So, as I had a notification there. Naderade 009. Naderade, what's going on, bro? It's been a while. Says, isn't there also a certain limit on people's visual prowess? At one point, it will just not be able to get any closer to visual reality. Yes, I don't remember exactly what is the highest quality that the human eye can perceive. But once you go past it, there's no point in going past it. Though, of course, I'm sure they'll try to. But I want to say, like, 8K might be the last leap before it just becomes irrelevant. 4K, I think, could be argued, as I mentioned, because of the HDR. And you really don't need much more than that. But some might argue 8K. Mark says, Mark 63366 says, if you liked Whiplash, watch The Legend of 1900. Tim Roth plays a pianist and has a showdown against Jelly Roll Morton in the middle of the film. Unbelievably intense. I've never heard of that before. Sounds interesting. John Ellis Bush says, I prefer It's Gotta Be Kane. You mean like, is that a wrestling reference? It's gotta be Kane. Or am I missing something? Apple Sheep, did you see the Minneapolis police murder someone for resisting arrest? No, I did not. I may have heard about it overall, but whenever it comes to these national stories, I really try, like, especially when it comes to like police brutality, I want to wait for it to go to court and for them to find out all the facts and for them to be put on trial, because I don't give a damn what the media has to say about it, because the media is going to take that story and spin it whatever way they want. I would much rather it be handled in the courts, the truth come out, and it be handled appropriately. That's just me, though. Illuminated by Darkness 9, thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. 500 million for South Park. I thought the number was 500 million, but I wasn't sure. So thank you, Rob D. Hypernex 13, Fletcher versus Gunnery, Dawn of Rage Man. What is that? Hardwick Bentho does recommend highly Adventures in Babysitting. It's one of the best comedies from the 1980s. I have to warn you, though, one of the characters repeatedly slanders Thor. Damn. No. How dare he? How dare he? All right. Chat jumped on me, but luckily no comments were skipped. Let me jump over to D-Live Fam. Camphonema says, the Tom Cruise space movie insurance will cost more than the marketing. That is a fair point. He also says, 47 Ronin is dumb fun. I recommend it for foo throwaway movie. Okay. I think you meant fun. I thought you were saying like kung fu, like throwaway foo movie. Captain Adam says, eBay is bad. China owns it, by the way. And PayPal. I stopped using them years ago when China bought them. No eBay, yuck, shame. Okay. Again, I think that's fair. I think that is a fair reason not to use it. I will continue to use it because sometimes they have things that I want that I don't have access to. Captain High says, I still can't get over the shock of you having an iPhone. Yes, but again, son, Baby Thor is coming in October. And just already having this thing, I can tell you that being able to receive high quality videos of my nieces and nephews has been fantastic. You can't get that through MMS messaging. Just the compression is so bad. So I'm already happy alone having that. Not to mention, as I said, it has a good camera and audio. So eventually when I'm able to leave the house more often, I'll be able to do some more vlogs with it too. Let's see here. Back still on D-Live. Captain Phonemo says, fat, Irish, fingers, and autocorrect don't mix. I hear you, bruv. Outback Zach says, congrats. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that very much. Peabody says, 16K film of Endgame is Scarlett Johansson slinking onto your bed and asking for KFC potato and gravy. He didn't tag me in it. So he didn't tag me in that post. But as soon as I saw 16K, I thought, oh, Peabody did research and said 16K is the highest that the human eye can perceive. But then as soon as I got to Scarlett Johansson, I'm like, oh boy, where is this going? So once again, if anyone missed it, Peabody said 16K film of Endgame is Scarlett Johansson slinking onto your bed and asking for KFC potato and gravy. That's so great. So, Mr. Peabody, I see that your fetish is KFC. Somebody get Mr. Peabody some business and gravy now. Speaking of which, I do really want some KFC biscuits and gravy, man. But nothing beats, of course, Popeye's chicken. So give me some Popeye's chicken. I'll take it. All right, anyway. Only when he dreams of Scarlet. So Peabody, we've confirmed, not only is upside down, but also he dreams in 16K, and in his dreams, it's a 16K Scarlett Johansson with KFC. That's awesome. I love Peabody. Forever Sci-Fi, second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, wouldn't let them use their weapons, though. Yeah. But, you know, it's still a fun movie. It is still a fun movie. Let's see. Naderade009 says, it's making it even more difficult to find which shows are on which streaming services when different platforms are buying individual shows from other developers. Naderade, you're right, man. Dude, with having even more streaming services now and all the different companies selling their movies and television shows to one service, keeping others on their own service, it's very confusing, though. From what I can gather, it looks like HBO Max is trying to consolidate all the stuff it can. And as I said, that's why I think Netflix is in the worst position, because I think Netflix is going to lose so much content over the next couple of years from Disney Plus, like going to Disney Plus, going to HBO Max, that it's going to be very hard for it to stand on its own. Mayor Jeremy says, "Oh, I forgot. You look heartbroken when you found out Tommy." What? Huh? Rhaegar Targaryen says, people keep telling me to watch Ready Player One. Even as a gamer from almost birth, that film doesn't attract me. Looks too busy, very superficial and flashy. Rhaegar, great description of the film that you haven't seen. That's exactly what it is. It's too busy. It's a CGI mess. It is a CGI fest, and it's terrible. Very superficial and flashy. That is a perfect explanation. Don't watch the movie. The movie's trash. The movie is not good. The book is so much better. It's so fantastic. Mirror Jeremy says, didn't fully directed The Room on Friday Night Tights. What? Mirror Jeremy, dude. Come on, man. Stop drinking. I can't understand any of your sentences tonight. Get on that. By the way, I'm going to read Stephanie B's comment because I saw just one part of it and I had to read it. Stephanie B says, I never understood Tom Cruise's sex appeal. Women just don't stay in a relationship with him. What's up with that? There's got to be something there. So many people think that he's sexy, and yet no one wants to stay in a relationship. Well, because, again, attractive dude, but he's crazy. So that's why people don't stay. Nathan Slade, did you ever see The Bad Judge Dredd? Is it so bad it's good? Do you mean the original one from like the 80s? I've never seen that one. I have seen the great Judge Dredd, which is just called Dredd, with Carl Urban playing Dredd. That one's fantastic. That one was about, 10 years ago, within the past 10 years or so? That one's fantastic. Watch that one. I hope they do a sequel at some point. Going to Hobbit says, the worst Steven Spielberg film is 1942 starring John Belushi. I've actually never seen it, so I can't speak to that. I'll take your word for it, though. Hybrid says, a bit random saying this, but this is the first time in a while I see you in a bright color, bright TV shirt. I don't wear many often. This is true. I like the darker shirts, especially green. Green is my color. And eventually when I have a green screen, that is going to be very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult, my friends. Very, very difficult. What else see here? All right, chat jumped on me, but no comments were skipped. We're about an hour and 42 minutes in, so we're going to have to start to wrap things up a little bit. So you two peeps, y'all can slow down a little bit. I'd appreciate it. Let me jump over to D-Live. Outbat Zach says, give me that 64K Brie Larson VR. Hell no. Outback Zach, don't tell me that you're into her feet. Don't look him up. Don't look it up, people. I'm warning you. Peabody says, you weren't supposed to read that out. Now Mandy is going to throw chicken at me. It was just too perfect, man. I just had to. Captain Adam McClan says 1942 was awesome. All right, so we got some differing opinions on that. Rob D says, sorry for the double post. I meant to say, do you know anything about defunct failure movie formats? Betamax, Laserdisc, HD, DVD. That is not a double post. So we're good. What do I think about them? Is that what you said? Do you know anything? So basically, I don't know much about Betamax. It's a little before my time. Laserdisc is essentially the precursor to DVD. Thing about a DVD, only like much bigger from what I remember. So it's just a much bigger DVD. So just really not very portable, but about, I think, DVD quality. HD DVD, that was the attempt. So for those that are not aware, Blu-ray obviously is a company owned by Sony. And so Sony basically is in charge of all Blu-rays. And so that's why Sony is such a, really well-made company and has so much money because they basically get a cut of every Blu-ray that any studio actually uses because they technically own the technology. So basically what happened was when Blu-ray was coming out, the owners of DVD, I don't know who owned it, but they were trying to have a competitor to Blu-ray. And so they tried a format called HD DVD. Blu-ray obviously won the day. It just had better quality, was picked up by more studios, picked up by more films, and so eventually HD DVD just died, and now Blu-ray is a standard, while of course we know DVD still indeed actually has the largest share of the market. So when you look at sales of physical media, DVD is about 40% of the marketplace, and then the rest of it is split up among Blu-ray, 4K discs, etc. So DVD still has like the largest share. Most people, for some reason, still buy DVD. I would advise against it because Blu-ray has much better quality. Like the jump from DVD to Blu-ray is much larger and much more noticeable, I would argue, than the jump from Blu-ray to 4K. Because with 4K, obviously, you need to have the right TV with the right format, right cables, etc. Where with Blu-ray, if you have just a 720p, 1080p TV alone, the image is already going to be leaps and bounds better than anything that could be on a DVD. Nathan Slay, wouldn't it be hilarious if J.K. Simmons brought his Fletcher attitude when playing J. Jonah Jameson? It would make Whiplash R-rated if it wasn't already. I think you mean it would make Spider-Man, because if it's J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man taking on that attitude, then Spider-Man would absolutely have to be. HyperX13, Ip Man 3 has Mike Tyson, right? Do the different fighting styles blend well? I don't think they do. Mike Tyson was one of my least favorite parts of Ip Man 3. He's just not a good actor. It just didn't work well. He actually, at one point, he speaks like Mandarin, and it sounds so bad. Cia Production says, Odin has an iPhone. I will turn him to the Apple side. No, you won't. Because iPads are way overpriced. Macs are especially overpriced. So I am PC Master Race, and I'm still on Team Android. All right, Apple has good hardware, but operating system's not that great. In fact, I'm very strongly considering getting a Chromebook because I have a computer, like I have like a regular laptop. Like I have my work laptop, which is like my big beast. I can take it with me, edit videos, do 4K stuff on it. Like it's great. And then I have my personal computer, which is like a smaller 13-inch. The problem is that it's a Lenovo 730 Yoga, and that lineup was made basically defectively because the wire that connects the motherboard to the screen is right where the hinge is on one side, meaning over time, the hinge starts to pinch the wire, which means the screen goes on the fritz. So I brought it into a store and they said, we can't fix it. Like literally, we cannot fix this issue. It's a design flaw. And so I reached out to Lenovo and they say, oh, technically you're past your, well, I'm sorry, you're past your, you're past your warranty time, so we can't do anything. Even though if you Google it, it is a clear widespread issue. So with that, I'm looking to get like a, because it still works and it does a lot of things that I need it to do, but I'm kind of looking to get like a cheaper Chromebook. There's something it's called like the Lenovo Duet. And it's supposedly a pretty well-powered tablet, like 2-in-1 that comes with the keyboard with it. It's really cool looking, and it keeps getting sold out, so I don't know how to get one, but I'm looking to get one. So yeah, I'm not looking to go to iOS, though. I would rather go to Chromebook before I go to iPad, etc. It's funny because someone on Twitter was like, because when I was talking about trying to find a new Pebble replacement for my watch, they were like, you should just get, an Apple Watch, the Apple Watch Series 3. It's on sale. And I'm like, yeah, it's still too pricey for me. It's still too expensive. And he kept pushing me on. I'm like, well, if you want to buy me one, you go right ahead and I'll wear it, man. And then he shut up and I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. Bruce says, have you seen Battle Beyond the Stars starring John Boy Walton? So bad it's good. No, never seen it. Tina says, KFC is terrible. Even the Colonel turned his back on them after he unfortunately sold the company, kind of like Lucas and Star Wars. Oh, no, KFC. I'm telling you this much. KFC mashed potatoes are the greatest potatoes from any fast food joint, period. I will fight anyone on that. And I say that because when I was younger, my mom worked a lot, my dad worked a lot. So sometimes my mom wasn't able to cook us dinner. And so we would have just the KFC meal brought. And those mashed potatoes and gravy, oh, heaven. The gravy's just, Apple Sheep says, since you bought an iPhone, you get 1 free year of Apple TV. Have you watched anything on it? I did see I got that free year. Have not watched anything on it yet, but it looks like they've got some decent stuff. The problem is that I would have to watch it basically on my iPhone. Because you need like basically Apple TV to get a lot of connection. I think I can technically do it through maybe my Roku, but because of where my streaming things are, it's just hard to make it work for now. Forever Sci-Fi, who's a member of the channel, says, original TMNT had themes that modern Hollywood would consider toxic, especially father-son relationships. Yeah, we can't have those. Why do you think we have a problem with families in today's society? It's because we don't have enough fathers. Just going to say it. The family dynamic has been so broken that that's why you have, you want to know why there's a lot of high crime rates in lower income families? Because there usually isn't a stable family unit, and it's usually because the father is not present. That's like statistically proven. So Nathan Slay says, everyone, Ready Player One is awesome. It's a brilliant movie. Me. Have you seen Jaws? Yeah, Ready Player One is not good. Tina says, yeah, there's something up with Tommy Mapother, but this is a family audience. Wait, what? Who's Tommy Mapother? What are you talking about? That makes no sense. I have no idea what you're trying to talk about. All right, you two people, please slow down. Please slow down. We do have to end the show, and I would rather not skip comments. But I might have to. Let's jump over to DLive for a second. Cavill Nemo says, so DC Universe isn't included on HBO Max. So from what I gather, anything that's already been released on it will be available on HBO Max. But I think the streaming service of DC Universe is still its own thing. So maybe it'll only be some things are flipping over. Like, as I said, Doom Patrol is confirmed to be on HBO Max. When it goes live tomorrow, though, I'll try and look through it. Maybe I'll do a video on that, is to say, hey, here's HBO Max. Let's see what's available. But we'll have to wait and see how tomorrow goes, see if I'm up for it, because that might be a long video. Captain Phonemo says, I own the Criterion Collection version of Blade Runner on Laserdisc. Boom, dude. That's probably worth a fair amount of money now, I would imagine, from collectors. But yeah, Criterion Collection also. There's going to be a lot of Criterion films on HBO Max. So again, HBO Max has a crap ton of stuff, man. It's got the old stuff, and it's got a lot of new stuff, too. Outback Zach says, Laserdisc isn't progressive. Oop. Oh, my gosh. DLive jumped on me. That's a first. Outback Zach says, Laserdisc isn't progressive scan, so it's a bit below DVD. Thank you. for that information. Counting High says Betamax was superior to VHS, but VHS had the Disney movies, so they won. Ah, interesting. Okay. Captain Nemo, I found the Laserdisc Criterion Collection of Blade Runner for $1 at a thrift store. Wow, dude. I would look that up, man. That might be worth a lot of money now. Peabody says, let me explain the Scarlett Johansson potato and gravy thing. Peabody's like, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it. All right, so Peabody says this. He says, let me explain the Scarlett Johansson potato and gravy thing. I had a very vivid dream. In the dream, I had KFC chicken. Scarlett got on the bed and asked for potatoes and gravy. I woke up, looked at the clock, and said, they're not open yet. Don't you love when you're in that state of like you just came out of a dream, but you're still kind of in it, and you're like, KFC, I gotta get Scarlett Johansson KFC. They're not open yet. Dude, Peabody, that is freaking amazing, man. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I'm so glad I read that comment now. That's just so great. All right, and Captain Phonema says, Blade Runner is framed and hanging near my movie posters. Dude, that is an awesome buy. Great buy for you, dude. Captain Phonemo, rocking it. And now he just dropped 4 lemons too, man. Thank you. And then Captain Adam says, yes, Peabody had that dream and told me about it. That is so freaking hilarious. I love it. You betray the law. I said so. You betray the law. No. Oh, yeah. It was a massacre. You betray the law. That's from the original, from the old school version of Judge Dredd. God. I've seen that clip. I've never seen the actual movie. Bruce says Dredd is awesome. I agree. No question about it. Tina says, wrap it up. I've got the Grant miniseries to watch. Tina, I'm trying. The people aren't letting me. Harwick says, Doug Lyman said that he got mad at Tom Cruise for coming up with such a great idea for Edge of Tomorrow's sequel that he had to come back to direct it. Which he hadn't planned to do. Well, I'm glad he did because I thought the first film was great. Latino Slant, what's going on, dude? Apple Sheep says, for reference, this is when you told YouTube, Apple Sheep is giving me a reference point. That's why. So at 8:40, I told YouTube to wrap it up. It's 8:51. So y'all are 11 minutes behind. Come on, people. Come on. I'm gonna have to skip some comments now. CA Production says Betamax and Laserdisc, basically a video-based vinyl records. Nice. Nitrium says, I'm pretty sure you need HDR support on your TV to get anything from it. I doubt there are any 720p or even 1080p TV that support HDR. Oh, no. If that's what it came across as, that is not what I said. Because I do know that. In order to get 4K HDR to work, you need to have a 4K and HDR capable television, and you need to have obviously an HDR capable player. You need everything to basically line up in order to access it. I personally don't have that as of yet. I have a much older 4K television that doesn't really support a lot of that. One day I'll have a legit 4K TV. CA Production says, actually, the release of the PS3 was what helped Blu-ray on top of HD DVD because the PS3 was a Blu-ray player. The first Xbox 360 releases were not HD DVD compatible. And yeah, as I said before, it's also because of that format difference too. I want to say Blu-ray is superior. Tina says 16 minutes until part 2 of Grant. Sorry, Tina. I'm trying. The people won't let me. Nathan Slay, since you're quoting a movie, I'm gonna skip that. Tina says, oh, that's why you asked me about Chromebook. Yeah, I like them because your drive doesn't fill up with files. The antivirus is built in, files in the cloud. Exactly. And it's also something where it's so small, it would be easy to take on an airplane. It would be easy just to take out and about, and yeah. So I'm looking into it. All right, so chat has jumped on me again. Hopefully I'm getting towards the end because I do need to wrap up. I'm very tired, but everyone keeps posting. All right, Mirror Jeremy says, could perhaps mirror screen your phone to TV? Again, that feature only works with certain things. Like, it works great with Apple TV, but I believe you need to have the app for it to work on anything else. 70B says, Samwise potatoes. Boil them, cook them, stick them in a stew. Tina says, Tommy Mapplethorpe is Tom Cruise. What? I forgot that's his real name. Tina is his real... Okay, May Potter. May Potter? Wait, that's how you pronounce it? Tommy May Potter? What? That's silly. Tom Cruise is much better. I see why he's stuck with it. Forever Sci-Fi, look up Indian Superman on YouTube when you have a chance. It's so worth it. If you email me or message me on Twitter to remind me of it, I'll have a much better chance of doing that. Bruce says, I believe the VHS actually won out because of the adult movie business. That is also, again, I imagine there's a lot of stories and a lot of reasons, multi-layered reasons as to why some industries did not succeed and others did. Robert Frey says, I signed up for HBO Max. Cool. Soul Assassin, watch the Stallone Dread if you have a good time with the cheese. I sometimes do. If it's on HBO Max, maybe that'll be the first movie I watch. I don't know if it is, though. I don't know if that's under the Warner Brothers label. I don't think it is. Cobra Viper 999 says, Demolition Man is good or bad? I have not seen it, so I can't speak to it. CF Production says, my mistake, Betamax is a videotape. I was thinking of another vinyl video disc like Laserdisc. No problem at all. We all make mistakes. It happens. It happens. All right. Thank y'all so much for calming down on YouTube. Appreciate it. Alex McCarthy says, Olden, stay up late tomorrow. Play Mario Kart, dagnabbit. No. They need to move up the damn time. This has been going on for weeks now. And, move everyone else's schedule. Also, it's better just to move the time up in general because then you'll have more people watching you. Earlier time, more people watching, Odin gets to play. It's not difficult. Like, seriously, man. It's not like everyone else is streaming beforehand anyway. Gosh. It's because they're scared. They know that when I play, they do worse. I'm not saying that I'm going to win every game. I'm just saying that when I'm in the game, since I know how to play, things happen. That's all I'm going to say. They're just scared. Especially that Jeremy. Jeremy's terrified of me. All right, and then wrapping up on D-Live, let us see. K-Man, thank you for this 4 lemons. Outback Zach says, no, I'm not a foot weirdo. Glad to hear it, man. Captain Dean Heist, thank you for the 10 lemons. Outback Zach, thank you for the 2 lemons. Sahir, thank you for the follow. Great, you're in Turkey. That means you're out of the chat. And that's not because I hate Turkey or I hate people from Turkey. It's because any person that says I'm from Turkey on D-Live is a troll. It's just a fact of life, man. Campo Nemo says, PS2 also played Blu-ray. Really? Did it? Huh. Outback Zach, there's a lot of stories. I bet there are. Tina says, chat and Odin question, have a good night. You too. So thank you everyone for watching tonight. So just as a quick recap, on the things talking about tonight. So HBO Max, everybody, does indeed premiere tomorrow. It's going to have a crap ton of movies, again, including things like Wizard of Oz, the entire Studio Ghibli series, Magic Mike, guys, girls, the Jetsons, the Flintstones, classic things, Citizen Kane, The Bodyguard, too many things to list. And again, this is just some of the stuff that's going to be available at launch. You have other things that are coming out very quickly as soon as June 1st, including U571. I've heard great things about it, have never actually seen it myself. And the first thing we talked about is that there is indeed now a rumor this has been discussed over on Bounding Into Comics, great website, I recommend them, that says that Ben Affleck is apparently rumored because of AT&T sources, according to someone named The Cultured Nerd, claiming that their sources say Ben Affleck not only is going to return to Batman, but also that he will be directing his own Batman movie and that will be moving forward. So if you missed that earlier on, those are the news stories of tonight. So please, if you are planning to get HBO Max, like I am, because I have HBO now, it's going to transfer tonight or tomorrow morning. Again, they have not said what time the update's going to go out. But for anyone that's wondering, there is going to be an update to HBO Now that is going to update it to HBO Max. Then you should be able to either open the app directly or sign in using your HBO Now subscription information will bring you right to HBO Max. Or if you don't have any of it, you can just sign up for it when it goes live tomorrow. It'll be available on Apple. It'll be available on iOS, Android devices, other services too. And based on everything I see, there's going to be a crap ton of content available. So tomorrow, as soon as it's available, I'm going to try and dive into the content, maybe try and make a follow-up video, or maybe on Saturday's stream, talk a little bit about what is available on the service. Just a lot of things to be excited about. Again, there's a lot of anime stuff on there, classic movies, newer films too. Obviously next year, the Snyder Cut, other things that could be on the way potentially, maybe down the line. Just exciting times. Again, I know that everyone's into HBO or the streaming wars or anything like that, but especially in this time when so little content is being released in theater, It's this kind of stuff that keeps me grounded and keeps me excited for the future. So thank you everyone for being a part of the journey tonight. Please click on the links in the description of the video if you want to donate to support the channel. Again, it really does help me continue to do these things, to continue to do these streams. For everyone that's a member that's subscribed tonight, thank you so much. That does really help out a lot. If you want to support the channel, you can also buy merch. I've got t-shirts, mugs, pillows. Again, a plethora of stuff on TeePublic. Teespring has some options too. So if you want to check those out, links in the description and plenty of other links as well. Displays, metal posters. Again, anything that can help support the channel would really mean a lot. Adam and the Clan, thank you for the 2 ice cream donations. You are freaking awesome. But that's going to be it for me tonight. Hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you all again on Friday Night Tights. Should be a fun time. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to my May Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Albertus Magnus, Animation Commentator Brian P., Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weeder Dog Clan, Harold Francis, the Hunker Chunker Funker Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Kenneth Camiel, Lady T, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Out of Step with Reality, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bojan, The DJD Show, and Tina B. Thank you all for being my Patreon members, and a shout out to my Subscribe Star peeps: John B., Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nevadon G. Adams, and ZK Man. And a special shout out to David Bobrizik and Edgardo Martinez. I'm going to leave that pause there just in case anyone decides to join for the month of May, because you can indeed join on Patreon or Subscribe Star at any time this month to be eligible for any of the perks. They include access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John, the Flick Pick of John Flickinger's fame, so make sure you go ahead and check that out at the $10 and up level. Also, if you Subscribe Star or Patreon at $5 or up, you have access to exclusive giveaways of 4K movies, digital films, and a bunch of other stuff in between as well. And if anything, you could at least give anything that you really want to help support the channel, and it would really help me out a lot. Keeps the lights on, makes me able to continue to do this kind of stuff. So anything you possibly give, check out some more information in the description of the Patreon, Subscribe Star, and of course YouTube membership links as well. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.